Hi, I'm Matt Whitman, and this is a 10-minute Bible Hour miniature bonus extra special edition super secret extra episode. I guess we're doing those now. Bang, 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 bang. So a lot of you are probably on your way here from an episode you just watched about Acts chapter 8, verses 26 through 40. And in that episode, I talked about verse 37, which does not appear in most modern translations. And a lot of you were probably like, that seems weird. Why isn't that in there? I should go watch another video if such a thing were available to help me understand why that is. This is that video. Here's the deal. Bible translation is a tricky thing. Really, any kind of translation is, because you're taking a bunch of words and ideas from a language that no longer really gets spoken in a practical sense and translating it into a modern tongue. There's a bit of an art to that. And anytime you're translating from an ancient document, you want to gather as many manuscripts as you can and compare all of those manuscripts and make sure that they line up so that what you're translating it to is a faithful representation of what everybody had it saying in the first place. Well, in the 21st century, we've got gazillions of ancient manuscripts. I mean, really, really, really old, really close to the fact manuscripts, and hundreds and thousands of these things sitting around. They've just gradually materialized as people have started to compare notes and got things cataloged and organized. And the result is we can line all of those up and say, man, this stuff all matches. It's a pretty safe bet, since it all matches, that this is what the original document said. Otherwise, there'd be all kinds of discrepancies here. And so as a result, modern translation is born out of an analysis of the oldest available texts en masse. But we haven't always had that luxury. Bible translators in the Middle Ages and the early modern era didn't have access to zillions and zillions of early manuscripts. They had access to a few, and they did the very best with what they had. These guys were genius scholars, and they did great work. But the tricky thing is they were using manuscripts that were from hundreds of years after the fact at times. Now, there was still overwhelming agreement amongst these manuscripts, but some of these later manuscripts, every now and then, had what look like, in retrospect, slight additions to the text. Now, in the case of verse 37 here, the addition doesn't really make any difference as to the meaning of the text. Here's the verse. Philip said, "If you believe with all your heart, you may." The eunuch answered, "I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God." Well, that doesn't sound particularly not Christian. It fits right in the text. It makes sense. It works. It's possible that this could be from the earliest rendering of Acts, but because it doesn't appear in any of the early manuscripts, it's more likely that it belongs in the footnotes where it is now, thus resulting in the reality that some much older English translations have verses like verse 37, and most of the modern translations only acknowledge that in the footnotes. Is this a problem? I don't think so. I'm not threatened by it at all. I'm not great at Greek, and I have to labor through it, but even me, with my very modest skill set, can go back and look at pictures of all of those original documents and compare these notes for myself, and I can tell that what they were reading in the first century is what I'm reading right now as best as it can be translated. And where there are disparities because of later manuscripts that were relied upon briefly in the art of translation, they're still saying the same stuff. This does not disrupt the meaning of this passage in any way. The meaning's simple. The gospel got to this guy, he responded to it, he was baptized. That's my explanation of the verse 37 question. Hopefully that's helpful. I'm Matt Whitman. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour. We'll see you soon.